welcome to Onesies, a podcast of onesies and wonders and blunders. My name's Andrew,
My name's Emily.
and we are back with Dweebs, the CBS 1995 masturbation commercial. There is mid 90s women working out in a sports bra on Carrie and her friends in yoga shorts, and
Yeah.
it's given big, or yoga pants, and it's given big Star Trek The Next Generation calisthenics vibes. Are you aware of that meme?
No.
There is at least one, possibly two episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation where they make the ship's doctor and the ship's counselor, two professional women, do aerobics together in tight-fitting things
Cool.
to provide the boys some oogle google.
Well, that's nice
Um,
for them. That's
it
really
is.
nice. How nice of them to
So
do that.
big vibes from that, but it's very funny because the
It's
woman who
like
plays it.
it's like a slide board, so you don't actually get any jiggle jiggle.
No, yes, and it's also like that whole scene's fucked. We'll get to it because the episode's written by a man, and that whole scene's fucked. Do you just sit around and like plot against Kevin Costner's wife right now? That's the implication of this. What I'm saying is that's why Friends and Seinfeld were hits, is because they were a revolution that did not portray every woman as a potential homewrecker or something. Like it's so gross. Anyway, backing up to the beginning, we have a Air Force colonel arrive at the
Oh,
office. Nope.
first,
First,
Harry Harry comes into the office.
okay,
Todd follows, throws
yes.
a newspaper that thump lands at Warren's door, and
Oh,
somebody
that's
else
right.
walks by and drops a cup of coffee or something near the door.
There's a
I don't know.
bottle of milk.
Yeah, something like that. And the noise results in Warren opening the shades. He is in his gym jams, and uh Carrie realizes that Warren has slept in the office. Now she can't really address it with anybody because she continues to be interrupted. She tries to talk to Vic about it. She tries to talk to Morley about it. Vic and Morley get into a fight about coffee. Morley likes decaf. Vic does not like decaf. And then she tries to talk to why can't I? It's Stephen Tobolowsky. I can't think of his character's name about it. Um, and then the Colonel comes in, and he is a recognizable figure, but I don't even care to
I
look up
believe
who
it's
he is.
Lane Smith. I didn't look it up. I didn't pause. I didn't.
He he's
The
very
copy wasn't
recognizable.
great, but it sounded like Lane Smith.
I feel like this is every character he's ever played. A very toxic masculine guy with a booming voice, looking for Stephen Tobolowsky's character. Carl, ha, came to
Carl.
me. Um, and it turns out he is from NASA. They are testing some new software in outer space. They need a software engineer guy to do the work, and he is in the running, one of the top in his field. We also find out, although this is later, they are in Seattle. We had mentioned last week that we did not know where this took place. He is in Seattle, or they are in Seattle. So Carrie, very excited, wants Carl to go to these trials. I guess they have to do like fitness stuff. They've got to be in the spinny thing. They've got to do all this weird stuff. Carl is not interested because he doesn't want to die in space. I do want to die in space, so I'm very jealous that he has the opportunity to die in space. Have I ever told you that? That's my dream, is to
Nope.
be shot out into space and die. Like until I die, just keep going. Just send me out into the world,
Like
the
now
universe.
or when you're sick?
Like now.
Okay. I mean,
Like send me out. I mean, I'm not gonna. How many years would it take me to get to the edge of the solar system? I would be long dead. So, send me now so I can get as far as possible. I could be the only human to have seen it with my eyeballs, and then I could die. It'd be great. Anyway, Stephen Tobolowsky does not want to die that way. And Carrie is like, "What's wrong with
Well,
you guys?"
he doesn't, we don't know that he doesn't want to die that way. He doesn't want to die in an explosion,
Oh,
which
okay.
is kind of, like edgy humor for 1995, right? Like Challenger was what, 86, 87? Like,
87, I think.
yeah.
Do you remember
So that
that? I was a young person. I was
I
in
was in
grade school.
school. Yeah, I
It was pretty
remember
traumatic.
it was because we watched. I don't remember if we watched it or if other people had watched it.
I
I
feel like we
don't
watched
think
it.
we watched. I don't think our class watched it, but another class did or
I think we
something.
did. And
Oh,
then it was like,
geez.
turn off, we're not going to talk about it. Okay. Very Midwestern of us. Um, yes, he doesn't want to die in an explosion in space.
Yes.
Sorry.
So,
Boring.
but Carrie's like, yes, this is the greatest opportunity known to man. You should do it. You should do it. He's like, and
But she gives them a
then
hard time. Like you all just you don't know you're all geniuses and you just like bicker about coffee and turn down this opportunity. And Warren sleeps in his office. So we finally come back to Warren sleeping in his office. Which is a sad, pathetic man thing to do, but also something a potential genius would do. I don't know. It's too
oh yeah,
early.
you sleep on the
It's
couches.
it's too early to discuss what kind of mental disabilities one might have that would lead him to be such a genius to have these
You
poor
mean
social
in
skills
this show or in the year 1995
in the
when
year 1995
it's too early? We should
C-
just make fun of him. We should
on
just make fun of
CBS.
exaggerated ticks that we've witnessed from like bullied children and adults. We should
You
just make
know,
fun of those.
like it's 1995. You were probably a grown adult, but I was in school still. Um,
Well,
and
your husband was
and
on
yes,
Social Security, so
and yes, we did make fun of them, and I'm not proud of that, but that was the time, and I think this show does that very well. Makes fun of people who are. I can't diagnose anybody. I don't know, but he seems to be on the spectrum a little bit.
yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the thing is now everything is just like, oh, well, I mean, oh, the spectrum always existed. Uh,
Yeah,
right. That just means that people were really fucking jerkier. Like
yeah,
the jerkiness
absolutely.
just increases. Okay. Anyway, so, oh God, what happens? Do we go to after work now? Or do we have
No,
to? No, we talk
Toby,
Todd
no, Todd. Todd comes and says, Warren wants you to do this thing.
to carry.
Yeah, to Carrie. Warren wants you to do this thing, test this thing. And she's like, oh God, why does he want to torture me? And he stops himself from saying, because you're an idiot,
No, we find out what he was going to call her
which was
a monkey. Their term for her is computer monkey, is what
cool.
the joke apparently is.
Cool.
You know who would
Um,
never be a computer monkey? Heather Locklear.
oh
Continuing.
Jesus.
Call forward, folks. Call forward. Emily's going to have some things to tell me about, but continue.
So she says, that's fine, I can do this. Todd runs away, scampers away. Um, and she's like, I can do this easy. It'll just take 2 clicks. And of course, you hear the clicking of her mouse once and then twice, and then repeatedly as she grows increasingly frustrated that she can't get the thing to work until Warren comes out of his office, shows her what he wants her to do, describes this situation going on her computer screen, which after she's clicking on it, you kind of get a view of it. It looks like it's on a screensaver. That one where it looks like you're traveling through the stars are just coming at you.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it looks like. Um, and so she hasn't done anything at all to her computer, despite us seeing her clicking. Um, and he's describing the scene. I don't exactly know what it is, but there's a chat room where she can talk to other people, and it's called Cupid's
Cupid's
Corner.
Corner.
And she's like, oh, that's cute. What is this? So this technophobe, this woman who is admittedly a technophobe, is suddenly interested in talking to strangers on the internet.
Yep.
Does not track. Whatever. She clicks on it, gets a message from Celia. Oh, there's this whole conversation about
Delia.
some mathematician. Oh, yeah, Delia, sorry. There's about some mathematician, and that's his username.
Yeah.
Whatever. Doesn't really matter, except that Delia, excuse me, says something like, oh, are you Peter so and so from this summer camp? And she's like, oh, this is exciting. And she starts responding, like, no, that's not me. And like, oh, too bad. And they start this flirtation. And Harry sees this as an opportunity for Warren to have a life outside the office. She's concerned that he's sleeping at his office and he does not have a life. She knows he doesn't have any social skills because she sees that all the time. So she starts flirting back, and then she kind of
As Warren. As Warren.
as Warren, yes. So last week I was afraid that this was going to be her posing as a woman online, catfishing him. But what's actually happening is she's catfishing Delia as Warren. I'm a little bit better with that. Just a little bit.
It's Cyrano. I mean,
Yeah.
we should have gone for the title.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't read, so I don't know. I would never get that illusion. So
What's an illusion?
it's like magic, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So she's responding back, and there's like a little chime that rings every time she gets a message, and she becomes like distracted. I thought for sure she was going to be up all night chatting with this person. Like that's where it seemed like it
No,
was
because
going. But
yeah.
instead, she makes up some scenario where her building was hit by thunder and the power went out. She pulls the cord. She runs away. Whatever.
This is where we
Now,
find out
go ahead.
that they're in Seattle,
They're in Seattle.
solving that mystery. It also means that Pamela Fryman directed two sitcoms set in Seattle, because she did Frasier. So yes, and then we are going to go to commercial, and when we come back to.
They're doing the exercise in her apartment.
Oh God, are they?
Mm-hmm. Because Noreen is there with her. They've got the
Yes.
slide boards. They're sliding back and forth, kind of opposite of one another. And Noreen is telling Carrie that she needs to stay out of Warren's personal life, that it's inappropriate.
No, wait. That's when it's a week later. We missed. Yes.
Did we miss
The
something?
slide board. Yes, we did. We get Carl. We get the next day at work. Carl has just had his astronaut test and he's stumbling around. We get the
That was
Tobolowsky
hilarious.
physical humor. Yeah.
That was hilarious.
We get some more about the coffee. We also skipped Corey Feldman talking about getting laid, which is probably a stipulation in all of his contracts. Also, interesting note, the Fell Dog is back. Jordan Peele financed a restoration of some horror movie he was in 20 years ago, and it's getting a la-di-da release at the, Alamo Draft House and things. And the punchline is that it's been available on YouTube for 16 of those 20 years, like uploaded from the screen. Anyway, but the Fell Dog now talks about how he's an actor again. He's returned to that. Sean Astin called him and said, "Good job, man. We can be in a Christian movie together someday." Okay. I think Sean Astin actually is campaigning for Harris, so whatever. Not to date this episode too much, folks. The internet and existing, the future. Anyway, so
Weirdo.
weirdo. Okay, So yes, Tobolowsky has just had his centrifuge test, so he's stumbling around, but apparently he did
Hilarious.
okay. So he is not shit the bed on this yet. Like this is not making fun of him failing.
Right.
Okay, which I was expecting. They don't do that, which is
No.
one thing in their favor. This
Yes.
is where we get Corey Feldman pouring coffee on Morley's desk because Morley made the decaf, I believe. Or do they?
That was in the first episode. So in this one, they
And
have two coffee pots now.
they have two coffee
Morley
pots.
makes the decaf and he makes
Oh,
regular, but he
okay.
adds a hint of hazelnut
A
or
hint of
something.
hazelnut, and they're spitting.
And they spit
And
it out. Yeah.
Vic spits on Morley, who spits on Carl, who spits on Toby.
Yes.
The cut to Farrah Fork is when she's like, God damn it, I shouldn't have done this job. God damn it. Fuck you. You.
I'm literally working with children. Yeah.
This is not like, what is happening? This is fucking, cartoon humor for. Anyway. So this is when Peter Scolari calls her into the office and has her chat again with Delia the next day.
Yes.
Then we cut to the workout scene where
Okay.
Noreen's like, it's been a week. You're getting off on this. This is totally inappropriate. And Carrie's like, no, I'm not. I just love having all this control or something. And then they talk about their sliding exercise and
And whether or
how
not Heather Locklear has to do
whether
it.
or not Heather Locklear has to do that. Then there's this meta moment where they talk about how actresses do nothing but work out to be visually consumable, but they're on a TV show. So it's
Like,
actresses
there's
saying
something
it.
there's something ironic about two conventionally attractive women complaining about somebody who is objectively more beautiful than them. I mean, not objectively, subjectively more beautiful than them, and whether or not she has to work out. Like, I don't understand. Like, there's nothing wrong with these two women. They are
Very
fit.
weird.
They are, again, conventionally attractive, attractive enough to be on television and consumable by presumably the male audience. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like the writer was just like, somebody didn't like having to wear a bra last episode, so I'm gonna fucking write this scene. Like it just is
or
like,
or or Heather Locklear refused to be on the show, and this is like they wanted Heather Locklear for that lead role, and she said
yeah,
no
which
because she's
uh,
Heather Locklear, not
I
Farrah
mean, she
Fawcett.
was on Fox. So it's like, that's like the thing is, Heather Locklear was on Fox before Fox was objectively a player. Like Melrose Place, like, wasn't Ally McBeal on Fox?
Yes,
That's when Fox was a player, was when Ally
but
McBeal was
she was
on.
married to Richie Sambora at the time, so I think she thought she was better than
I mean, whatever. I mean,
sitcoms.
well, I mean, regardless of who you're married to, you're probably better than dweebs. Okay. So, yes, we have this incredibly fucking terrible conversation where you just sit there going, ew, the whole thing about men writing dialogue for women. God damn, it just really, hmm. We then cut to, oh, and there's also a bit about how who's happily married? She's working out for, God, who was it? Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks. She's working out for Tom Hanks, America's dad, Tom
He wasn't
Hanks.
America's dad at the time.
He wasn't a fuck boy at the time either. Like Tom Hanks has never done. Tom Hanks did like one romantic drama. It was in 1984. Like, but then she's like, "Well, you said the same thing about Kevin Costner last year," and it's like, "Hey, Kevin Costner is getting divorced again. It could be another story bit." Um, okay. So then we've got Warren calling her in the middle of the night from his
Yes, from
office,
his
right?
office. I forget what the context is.
Delia wants to meet tomorrow.
Oh, is I thought okay, okay,
This is
and
where they set that up.
she says something like, "I would respond, but I'm not fully conscious." Um,
Yes, which,
and
yes.
So the conversation is short, but Warren hangs up in a way. Oh, oh. They do have a conversation, and she is coherent. I mean, obviously, she's an actress; she's just acting. But he says, like, I'm a homunculus. I think he describes himself as a homunculus. And she's like, you have a completely distorted view of yourself. You're attractive. You're successful. You're wealthy. And Warren just like hangs up the phone. And this is the point where I thought he is in love with her. He is in love with Carrie. Carrie is doing the thing that women do in these situations, trying to build up this man who has all the power, success, and privilege in the world, but doesn't realize it. And he realizes that he's actually in love with her. She goes into work the next day and goes into Warren's office, and he's not. And I'm like, this is the oddest will they won't they I have ever seen in my
We also get
life.
Tobolowsky in his NASA uniform,
In his NASA uniform. That
and
was cute.
he's developed. It's a long process,
He's
and
like, I'm
so it's
not a
working.
shoe-in, but I've come this far. And it doesn't go anywhere beyond this. So I'm hoping that the storyline carries over
Yes.
in the future. But so Warren actually wants to meet this Delia now. And again, I'm like, I'm disappointed, not because I particularly like a will they won't they
Mhm.
scenario, but because that's where I thought it was going. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
I still think it's going there.
It
I don't
will,
think
I
we're
think,
going to escape
eventually.
that.
But I thought that, like, I can't read this. Like, I'm having a difficult time reading these scenarios, and it's
Mhm.
frustrating to me. So Warren convinces Carrie to go down to the cafe where Delia is going to be to meet her and bring her up to the office. He doesn't want to go by himself. So she goes down to the cafe. We see our nerd cafe boy again, who explains that she sits down, even though she's been there before and this was not the case. She sits down at a computer. She has to pay $7.50. She can chat with anybody who's in the cafe, apparently. And because she makes him do it for her, like figure out how the computer works. Um, she owes twice as much. But also, the boys follow her. They have figured out through their internet sleuthing that Warren is engaged in an online relationship with somebody. While Carrie is explaining this is a very delicate thing, I'm going to go down there by myself, they all just walk right past her and go downstairs. So they're sitting in an opposite corner, or in camera shot, but at a different table. And she gets on the computer and says something like, I'm looking for Delia. And the response comes back, I'm here. Stand up so I can see you. And she stands up.
The boys are at the other table eating their nachos.
Right.
You get free nachos with your internet.
Who
It's
eats
also,
nachos at 10 in the morning? I
well,
would.
there you go. So then we discover who Delia is.
Yes.
There's three teenage boys, one of whom comes down, makes fun of Fair Fork. Then they run
And runs away.
out. She goes over to the table and probably eats a nacho as she goes, how are we ever going to tell Warren?
And Stephen Tobolowsky is like, beep, bop, boop, boop, boop. This is Jason Poopy Pants.
Oh, that's right. Yes, the hack is the kids.
He's 15 years old. He's in computer club. And oh, look, he's now failing his math class. Bloop.
Yeah.
And they all laugh. And then we cut back to the office, and Fairfork goes in to Warren's office and says she didn't show. And Warren is he visibly disappointed? Whatever. Again, because she's the woman, she's like, it's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to have feelings, man. It's okay. And he goes, oh, look, nachos.
We missed the part of the episode where she starts impersonating him.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah, where she starts stammering. It's when
Yeah, it's
she's
really,
leaving to go down to the cafe, right?
yeah. Okay. So this show is about a really toxic work-life balance.
Yeah.
It's about a toxic environment from every person's bringing something toxic to it. It's so wonderful.
And in the end, I mean, to kind of resolve the conversation that Carrie was having with Noreen, Carrie does say to Warren, like, now we need to get back to a normal employee-employer relationship. And he says, yes, yes, yes. And again, this is the part where I almost felt bad for Warren because he goes and sits back down at his computer,
Oh, that's
logs into
right.
that chat room and says something like, hey, does anybody want to chat?
And we get a long um, dolly back or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's trying to be social somehow. Dun dun
So this
dun.
must be before rich men got young hot wives. I
We don't really deal with his personal wealth in a way, but I mean,
well, in the very in the first episode, the pilot, they talk about how successful the business is.
yes, but it doesn't necessarily correspond to him being flush. But yes, I think it's before that. I mean, Mackenzie Bezos was somebody, she had a career before
Yeah.
Pitbull Bezos was let out of the pound, had to go get them ladies. Oh my God. Why does everyone suck so much? Just so much.
I don't know.
Fucking worst. What's next week?
Oh, next week. Great question. Um, episode 5, that will be the halfway mark. The Bad Back Show. Carrie throws out her back and can't leave her apartment. Todd is made temporary office manager, but proves to be ill-equipped. So I wonder if this is going to be a Carrie light episode or if everybody's going to eventually end up at her apartment asking for her help.
Maybe they'll see some of her sanitary napkins, and that'll be a story bit.
Oh
Dun
God.
dun.
Maybe she'll have some of her fine delicates hanging in the tub.
Mm, wonderful. Can't wait.
Can't wait. Yeah,
I don't know.
same here. Well, thank you all
Yeah.
for listening to this week's episode of Onesies, where we watched Dweebs, the Cyrano episode. Andrew, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy next week's episode too. I will talk to you then. See you in television land.
See you in television land.